Welcome back, I'm Ryan from Bluewood Gaming, and in this video we are taking a look at The Darkness 2. Now, this is an older shooter that came out back in 2012, and it was on the 2K Humble, if I could speak properly once again, the 2K Humble Bundle that ended just a few days ago. So, yeah, let's just get right into this and talk about the story first. Once again, like the first Darkness game, you play as Jackie Estacado, and you have the Darkness, which is just a set of supernatural powers that pretty much lets you do crazy things. In this one, you are being tracked down by a group called the Brotherhood, and they're trying to take the Darkness from you and use its power for their own benefit. And his girlfriend that died in the first game, she is being held hostage kind of by the Darkness in hell, and he's trying to free her from that, and then, yeah, things happen. This is a pretty good story. It actually doesn't require you to play the original game, as there's a quick, like, 3-minute video that sums up the first game really nicely. I didn't play the first game, so if I understand what's going on in the story, then you should too. Just the one downside to the story is that this game ends off on somewhat of a cliffhanger, and it seems like a third Darkness game is not going to be made, so the story doesn't exactly end. It's just kind of sequel baiting, and then now we're probably not going to get a sequel. But the time between the original Darkness game and Darkness 2 was 5 years, and this one only came out 4 years ago. So there is a chance that we might see it again, but it's a slim chance. The next thing is that the campaign, going through it casually, not rushing or anything, took me about 5 hours on the medium difficulty. So it is a little bit on the short side, and there's no multiplayer that can back that up, and even if there was, nobody would be playing it. So yeah, no, it's one of these shorter games. So let's move into the gameplay, and pretty much it's what you're seeing in the background. It's fairly basic shooting for the most part. There is several different types of enemies that you'll have to do different things to kill. Some of them just require more bullets, and that's pretty much the general idea, is use bullets, shoot people, they die. Pretty basic stuff. There are shield guys, though, that you do have to take away their shield from. But they're not too difficult either. Overall, the difficulty in this game isn't really all that high. I did try a little bit of it on the harder difficulty, and it wasn't that much. It wasn't that much harder. I just had it on normal to go through this a little bit faster. On harder difficulties, the game might last a little bit longer. But the part that really separates this game from other shooters is, as you can see, the Darkness arms that he has. And these arms have a pretty basic set of abilities. The left arm lets you grab enemies and pick them up and either rip out their hearts or steal ammo from them. The right arm can be used as like an extended blade to hit enemies. You can also use these arms to rip out the hearts of just enemies that you've killed, and you'll get health back. And they can also pick up like car doors and tables and stuff to be used as shields. And that's pretty much the simple abilities that they have. It does add quite a bit to the game. It does differentiate these, well, this from other shooters quite well. Just one thing to note is, while in light, either just bright lights or in actual sunlight, you won't get these darkness arms and you will also start to lose health, and eventually you will die if you stay in the light long enough. The final thing they'll say about the gameplay is that there is skill trees that you can upgrade with the points that you're seeing me get. Whenever I rip out a heart, I get points. Whenever I get a kill, I get points. Pretty much all these different things give you points, and you can use that to upgrade your darkness abilities. And this will be anything from giving your weapons exploding bullets to letting you rip out black holes from people and throw them around the battlefield to kill a whole bunch of other enemies. But that's about it for the gameplay. Let's move into the sound department because, well, this one's pretty quick. The sound is fairly decent. All the voice acting's pretty good. All the weapons sound different. There is a very few number of weapons, but they all do sound really, really different. And all the music is pretty decent. You don't really you don't notice it all that often, but it is there and it is fairly decent. Now let's move into the graphics, and as you can see, it's kind of a cel-shaded kind of look. It works. I haven't seen a game like this in a while. I actually really like this, but I know some people don't like the cel-shaded look all that much. It's not the most cel-shaded game that I've seen. Some of them go really, really deep into the black lines and such. This one just has a slight amount of it, and I think that it looks fairly decent, but that's a pretty subjective thing to say. And now let's get into the biggest problem that this game actually has, and this is a problem specific to the PC, so if you don't, well, if you aren't thinking about getting this for the PC, then you don't have to worry about any of this section, but if you are, then listen up because this might stop you from even getting the game. The amount of technical problems in this game is amazing. I don't think I've played another game with this many technical problems behind the scenes. Well, my computer has two screens. If I play this game in full screen mode, it turns off the other monitor even if I'm using it and have things on it. The only way to get this game to really play is in windowed mode, which sadly there is no windowed borderless. It's only windowed and full screen. And when you put it into windowed, your aspect ratio and your graphics settings get kind of messed up. You can fix it after a little bit, but yeah, that's not even the worst part. Halfway through the game, or about halfway through the game, this started happening for me, and I've heard some other people have it happen to them too. About every 20 minutes or so. For me, it was 21.5 minutes on the dot every time, and I could repeat it too. The game would completely freeze my entire system, and essentially my graphics card would freeze. It's not like the things would still go on behind the scenes, but my graphics card would freeze, and it would require a complete restart of my system every 21.5 minutes for me. For some people, it's slightly more. For some people, it's slightly less, but it seems to be about the 20-minute mark is where people are having these problems. So, yeah, if I wasn't reviewing this game, and if I didn't enjoy this game that much, I probably wouldn't have finished it. It doesn't help that the game is only 5 hours, but still, for those last 2.5 hours, every 20 minutes, I was having to restart my entire computer. So now that we got the worst thing out of the way, let's go on to my final thoughts. This is a pretty enjoyable game, although it's pretty short at only 5 hours. If you can pick this up on pretty good sale, I would say under $10, which shouldn't be that hard. This game is 4 years old. Yeah, if you could pick it up for under $10, it's pretty good. I would recommend playing this on consoles, although, yeah, pretty much on consoles. If you only have a PC, I would recommend staying away from this game and only watching maybe a playthrough because of those really terrible technical issues. So, yeah, that's it for this review of The Darkness 2. I have one more review scheduled, and then after that, I don't exactly know what my content's going to be. It's probably going to be a few videos on the recently released, recently ported to PlayStation 4 game, Sword Coast Legends, which is a D&D game. It came out on PC quite a while ago, a few months ago, but it just got released on the PlayStation about a week and a half ago, and I will probably be making videos on that. So, that's it for this video. Remember, I'm Ryan from Bluewater Gaming, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.